Hey, hi. Welcome to the House of Shalom Bible Study. I'm William Torborg, your pastor. Anyway, today I want to talk to you about, something that I've been on my mind for years. Anyway, God just gave me leave to tell you about it and talk about it. You see, one day while I was in the doctor's office a long time ago, the doctor told me she was trying to get me to take a drug for life. Yeah. Anyway, the doctor told me, your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. I looked at him like, what? Come on. He didn't even know what that meant. See, now he was thinking, well, the Holy Spirit lives in my body, so so I have to take care of it. Well, no. Let me go. I'll read 1 Corinthians 16, 1 Corinthians 6, 18 through 20 in the New Living Translation. Run from sexual sin. No other sin so clearly affects the body as this one does. For sexual immorality is a sin against your own body. But, sin against your own body. Don't you realize that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit who lives in you and was given to you by God? You don't belong to yourself. For God bought you with a high price. So you must honor God with your body. Now, obviously, Paul was writing Corinthians to those who were baptized in the Holy Spirit, who had the Holy Spirit with them. So the Holy Spirit lived in them. But now, let me read verse 15, and it's still the same version, a New Living Translation, and remind me of that. It said, don't you realize that your bodies are actually parts of Christ? Should a man take his body, which is a part of Christ, and join it to a prostitute? Never. In other words, let me just take it this way. If you want to go straight for God, you want to go straight to heaven, why should you go this way? Well, whatever. I don't know if you understand what I'm talking about. If you want you want a nice circle, why should you add a straight piece of wood? A long, straight piece of wood. If you want a round circle, why should you add a straight piece of wood? It wouldn't work. I think you might see that, but whatever. Anyway, so this is what God told me. If she's not your wife, having sex with her is treating her like a prostitute. It's treating her like a prostitute. If she's not your wife, whether she's someone else's wife and not yours, or if she's not anyone's wife, you're treating her like a prostitute if you're having sex with her. Now, here are some definitions. Adultery, a definition for adultery. voluntary sexual intercourse between a married man, a married person, and someone other than their lawful spouse. Doesn't need to be married or not, just someone other than their lawful spouse. And here's prostitution. A prostitute is a person who is willing to use his or her talents or bodies or whatever and abilities in the base and in unworthy way, usually for money, but not necessarily for money. So if you're asking the person to have sex with you for anything other than money, for anything other than to celebrate your marriage to her, then you're treating her like a prostitute. And the Lord was saying in this, or Paul was saying in this, don't subject your body, which is already given to the Holy Spirit, with a prostitute, with someone who's not your wife, or someone who's not your husband. That's ridiculous to do that. So would you do that? You should never do that. Might go so far to say is true believers, honest believers, don't do that. They don't go around sleeping with someone who is not their wife. That would make sense, wouldn't it? Anyway, but that's not what that's not what the doctor was talking about. Now, the way the doctor said it has a bit of meaning. A small meaning, but there is a meaning to it. Your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. Take it out of context, but that would make sense if it's taken out of context. Saying your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit who lives in you. But now, this house is my temple. This house is my temple. I own it. I live here. It's my temple. Guess what? If there's a mechanical problem, an electrical problem, plumbing problem, carpenter problem, I call the service to help me. But they don't live here. They don't live here. I call them to help me. They don't live here. You understand? They don't live here. So my body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. He lives here. This is his house. Guess what? If there's a problem like that, he calls the right person to help me with the problem. But they don't live here. I don't want you to think about that. It's probably a short message, but I want you to think about that. They do not live here. So, now you might get upset at me. Someone might get upset at me, but they also don't prescribe drugs that you have to go on every day for the rest of your life. I mean, not unless there's a definite problem like carpenter ants or termites, where you have to get a termite, have a, let's see, what is it, a terminex, or whatever it's called, where you'd have to have that every day because you're in a termite-infested area. Well, then they might, but that's not normal. They'd probably say, hey, this area's bad for you. Maybe you should move. So anyway, that's what I've got to say. And, well, anyway, if you were doing that, if you were subjecting your body to them, saying that my body is the temple of the Holy Spirit, so I've got to do what the doctor says, that might not be right. I want you to pray about it and do what God tells you. Because, well, so that's all he told you. That's all he told me. So anyway, God bless. No worries. Hey, just pray in tongues. Bye.